Microphone. Wait. Microphone. Microphone. Wait. Microphone. Mute it. Okay. Almost here. Switching to my better microphone. You can see I'm ovulated. Had to get my stuff out of the oven because I baked all my, I had to get my stuff dry, so I baked it. Don't do, I'm not supposed to recommend putting your paper crafts in the oven. Okay, so today we are going to make, where's my prototype? Oh, it's over there. Anyway, this is the start of it. This is the body. This is the kind of badly painted tower. We're going to cover it up with a lot of stuff, so it'll be okay. And so we're going to make a Norman castle. Now, I had to look that up. John, in one of my kind of online friends, this is the prototype. There's a little buttress, 2 buttresses. I love the trim. I'm trying to show you. I love the trim. Thank you. That my trusty assistant gave that to me. So John, who is one of my kind of email buddies, and I don't think he's in the Facebook group, but he wanted to do a Norman church, and he actually had a pattern started. So I kind of went off of his pattern, but I also had to look up stuff. I'm like, what is Norman architecture? And it happened when the Normans, the people from Normandy in France, invaded England, and the architecture is, and it was around the 11th century. It was like in the 1000s where they did this, where they started building these things. And they've been modified over the years. A lot of them are much more ornate and stuff, but that's because the builders weren't content to just leave them the way they were. They kept making them better and better and better, or they abandoned them. But I kind of like the old sort of abandoned look, so that's kind of what I'm going for. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry it's late. Like I said, I was getting them out of the oven. I'm using watercolor paper. Oh, it's the Norman Church is design number 210 in the Paper Glitter Glue library, and I wrote up a step-by-step tutorial, but I didn't have pictures because I haven't made the finished one yet. We're going to do that. And guess what I'm using? Watercolor paper. Wait, I like the 140 pound, or in grams, it's 300 grams. And what I do is I cut this paper in half, so it's 9 inches tall and 12 inches wide, and it really cuts well. So this is the brand I'm using. It's just what I pick up at my craft store. Okay, so anyway, I hadn't seen the names. I see Bertha and Jean and Karen and Michelle, Tricia, Corey. Ben always reminds me about Corey because I messed up her name. In terms of cutting it out, it's just like any of my houses. You have the base piece, and grouped with it are some score lines. So you have, in a Cricut, you have to convert them to score lines and then attach them so your Cricut knows that these sets of score lines belong to this piece. And so there's score lines on the, I call this the main body. This is the main body. On the tower, the steeple, the roof, and the buttresses. So also, because I wanted to make this longer, usually I make really kind of squatty houses, so they're wider and very narrow, and I do that just because it fits better on a cutting mat for a cutting machine. But I wanted this one to be longer, so it's got an inset piece so we can make it better. Okay, let me see. I see Roseanne and Barbara Rogers. Yes, that is large watercolor paper. I also use it kind of sometimes when I'm making something, I put it down below. And like if I was making something really dark, it's a great background. So Lynette is here. So happy to see all you guys. Okay, so let's see. I think we're going to switch the cameras. First, I'm going to put it in my face and blind you or me. And let's see how we're lined up. Not too good. Let's try to be straight. I'll try not to hit it. Okay, so I've got some pieces kind of pre-done. I painted them because I am using watercolor paper. And whenever I paint, I mean, that's pretty much a mess level 5. I see my fingers still have a lot of paint on them. My face had paint for a while, but I managed to get that off. Okay, so let's make the main piece first. Let me move everything out of the way. I'm trying to be more organized. So this is the main piece. And I'll show you sort of the way I've designed it. You know, I'm pretty flexible about things. In my opinion, you can do stuff all different ways. You don't have to follow the steps in exactly my order because they will probably work. Yes, it will fit on an A4 letter size. Yes, that's why they're 2 pieces, so it'll fit. So I think this is about 9 inches. I have to count. 5, 4, yeah, just over 9 inches. And almost everything I design is designed to fit on an A4 or a letter size. So that's why this is a separate piece. I am using my trusty Barely Art glue. And the nice thing about it is, it's just when I'm doing the trim, it's so easy to do little tiny lines. Okay, let me take out my pen. You know, one time my pen got stuck. Okay, let's see. And you can use, remember, you can use any white glue. Some of them have more resin, more sticky than others. I think this one is kind of like Goldilocks. This is just right. Or certainly it is for paper and cardstock. And when I painted this, I tried to make it a little bit, you know, like old and distressed. It was built in the 1000th year. And I found a photo on Wikipedia, and this house is similar, this church is similar to that one. St. German's Priory Church. I think that's what it was. And I used the photo. I already stuck my fingers in the bin. I need a little more water too. He got me a wet paper towel, but you know, the mess level's a little higher. I need a little. Don't put it in the kiddie bowl. Okay, so we're gluing. We've just inset this into the thing. And because we've got a seam here, I want it to be in a place where it doesn't show up. And so when we attach it to the, let me do this the correct way, to the tower, we're going to put buttresses here so it will cover up this seam. Yeah, I realize that's like seriously messy painting. I can repaint it. Okay, so, and then you want to square it up. And now we'll glue these down. Glue down, remember I call these roof flaps. These help hold the structure. And whatever glues to the flaps are roof tabs. All right, so I'm adding glue to the underside of the roof tabs. And I'm gonna do this. You know, when I'm doing it here, I often use tape, whereas when I made this version, I did not use tape. I didn't need to because I just kind of hold it. And it's a little more precise, so you want to make sure, keep migrating out, you want to make sure the edge of the roof flap meets the edge of the, you know, this facade, this end of the, this gable end of the church. Okay, a little more painter's tape. Roseanne said she thought the paint, this is just a little too chaotic. But we do put a lot of trim on it, so I don't think it's going to show. Mostly those are my fingerprints. But I mean, I was literally painting at 1:55 and the video, you know, supposed to start at 2. So let's get this one down. Check inside. Oh, it's heavy watercolor paper. So when I cut watercolor paper on my Cricut, I use the heavy watercolor setting. And I'll show you, I did some tiny pieces of trim, and there was one that didn't cut well, but I just cut some extra pieces out and it's fine. Okay, so there's our structure and it looks good. Now, I guess I always debate when to do this. At y'all's recommendation, there is an insert, and again, I painted it. It's pretty sloppy too. I always debate whether to put it in now or should I wait. I usually wait, but it does help hold it square. So I make these inserts just about like 98%, just barely smaller than the outside so that they will fit easily. And I cut out a section in the insert so that it wouldn't stick up on the doors. Okay, I think I'm going to do it later. What I meant to do, though, first was apply my little windows. And I tried to do them, yes, good. A different color. I want the windows to look like a lighter stone for contrast. So what I intended to do was apply the windows before I glued it because it's just so much easier to get them to stick. Mess level. Yeah, we're mess level. We're pretty much 5. Maybe a 6. Especially because I was in a hurry. If you are, you know, like da-da-da-da-da, take your time, the mess level doesn't tend to escalate as much. But if you're in a hurry and your hands fly around, that's when it really escalates. Okay, I'm going to move something because I keep migrating out. There, I'm going to move out a little bit. So I'll be able to show you what I'm trying to show you. Okay, get these windows on. And the extension, this, what I call it, like I said, the main building, this is, it's really not the dramatic part. It's just sort of, it's almost like it's the addition. It's not the attention-getting part. The important part's really the tower. Okay, let's see. Did Peggy ask a question? Yes, the windows are also watercolor paper. Now you can do cardstock. I mean, that works. I just like the dimension. I like how, although you can't really tell on this one, I like how it takes paint. Even though it's watercolor paper, I like the way it takes this acrylic paint. Of course, I use Tim Holtz paints, but they're kind of hard to find, so I would just use an acrylic paint. And to give more variation in the color, you can water it down just a little bit so it goes on a bit more like a watercolor. It's a little more translucent, and I just think it gives more dimension. You know I like dimension. You meant foot wine, right? Okay. No, I thought it said Ute wine. Okay. Alrighty. Next, let's glue these two together, and I'm going to just do them this way so I can be sure that they line up. So this is the door itself, and it's not fancy. If you have a cutout for a door that you like better, use that. Just kind of size it bigger than the opening. But I just did a simple door. And I didn't really do, I like the painter effect, so a wood texture effect. I didn't really do that. Like I said, I just finished painting. Okay, line it up. And if you turn it over, try to be careful so you don't slide everything out of place while you're manipulating the building. Again, the time to do it is before you glue it together. Oh, of Lucille Ball? Yeah. When she made foot wine. Yes. Oh, actually, we don't need a door here because this one is going up against this side of the castle. I mean, of the tower. You see, that's why there's not a window on this side. So you just kind of line up the door when we glue them together. Okay. So that is the main structure. We're letting that dry. Now let's add windows and trim. Let me get all my... So there's lots of pieces. They didn't take that long to cut on my maker. I was really pretty happy about that. Pieces. Lots of windows. There are a total of 3 different sized windows. The ones on the main body are shorter and wider. These are tall and thin, these are tall and thin, and these are taller. So, are they glued together? That's okay. All right, let me see. I'm going to do one sample for you. That's why I was going to show you, you know why I love this glue. Okay, here it is. See, isn't that cool trim? And this goes around it, and I did that because it just gives it another level of dimension. You see, it's got like a little frame on it. And so this is the amazing part of Barely Art glue. And also you can see that my skills are elevated. I didn't used to be able to do this nearly as well. Okay. So I saw some trim like this when I was researching. And so these go, there are 4 of these. And I did them separately because, one, it would be really hard to glue the trim on a long strip like that. It would wiggle and not line up. And I didn't even line it up perfectly. So those go up there. Oh, when you paint it, well, I've got this piece out. Let me show you. Paint the top part because the back of these, I think they're called crenels, these crenellations show, so paint the back of those if you paint it. If you're using cardstock, you don't have to worry, although even if I use cardstock, I would distress it. I'd use some blending ink, some ink and a blending tool to make my Norman church look old. Okay, here's one. And then I'm using this square one. It's got 3 things. Because I noticed on the architecture, each layer was kind of distinct. So it's not like they were perfectly symmetrical. That one goes there. And then these go underneath. Now I'm going to do the windows first, just so I line stuff up right. See, it's gonna look good. Okay, let's do windows real quick. Let me try to keep these in order. 1, 2, 3. And the door. So let's do windows. So these are the tall, thin windows. And it really is so much easier to do it this way, especially on the tower. The tower would be, you know, really challenging because it's small and it kind of gives when you apply the glue. Not impossible, but just harder. Okay. There we go. And these aren't perfectly symmetrical. I wanted them to look like ancient stone, 1,000-year-old stone. Oh shoot, stuck to my finger. Okay, 2 windows. Oh, and these are taller ones, so let's put them down before I put them in the wrong place. And this is a tall one too. Let's see. I hope, yes, I think painting stones. I saw Amy said paint stones. I think that looks so good. And you can do it really easy. This is an ancient paintbrush. I'm actually using it to help me insert the tower thing. But with your brush, if you have a narrow brush with a flat tip, you just kind of go like that and it makes brick-like, you know, so you can paint stones or bricks pretty easily. It's faster. You can also stencil. You know, I love to stencil stone and paint it. But I've done that for you before. You can see my stone stencil tutorial if you want to do that technique. I really think it's actually one of my favorites. See? The little tower kind of comes to life when you get the windows on it. Yes, I use watercolor paper for everything. It's a little thicker, and so it gives dimension. That's why I like it. But you could use cardstock, and you can paint cardstock, but I would do heavier cardstock. And if you notice that it's kind of bendy, it's not as flat as you want, I would let it dry, and then I'd put it under something to get it to get it to be flat again, something heavy. If you're worried about paint getting on a book or something, just put a piece of wax paper, or I like parchment paper. Put it between parchment paper so that you can, you know, make it flat, because they do, when you add water to paper, it gets a little flexible. It gets a little lumpy. I guess you could iron it. I have ironed paper before when I had paper that would not cut properly. I left it out on a porch overnight, and I was visiting somebody and I needed to make something, so I just I ironed the paper, and it made it cut. But when it was a little bit damp, it just would not cut properly. Yeah, I don't really understand, you know, what you're saying, Nan. I don't get that. 2 pieces. Oh, you're saying put it behind. Oh, that's an idea. Like it's recessed. If that's what I think. Okay, I will try that sometime. That's a great idea. It's certainly worth pursuing. And whenever I can make something that's easier for y'all, yeah, that's worth doing. Okay, these paints are Tim Holtz paints. Like I said, they're very hard to find. The lighter color one is called Lost Shadow. It's like a barely gray. This one is pumice stone, but I added a little darker gray because it was just like too brown. And I wanted them to all be in the gray family. Not so much in the brown family. Now, if I was painting stone, I always add some brown because, I mean, that's the thing about stone is that it has so many different colors to it. Okay, I'm trying to line up the trim so it doesn't pop off. Here's our fourth one. Let's see. Yeah, it looks old. Little floppy, little old. Oh, I see Martha. She says she's late. There is no late. We're just happy to have you here. In terms of crafting, you know, people say, oh, I'm so far behind. I'm like, there is no behind. Not in crafting. We do what we can. I need to move that one over. Okay, so we got that one. And like I said, it's looking very rustic. I think I just put glue on my face. Not a shock. Now remember, if you get paint on your hands or your face, that's easily washed off. So that doesn't really elevate the mess level. But if you get it on your clothes, the floor, all over your table, yeah, that elevates the mess level. One surface bumps it up one. Two surfaces, mess level goes up two. See, I didn't put this one on exactly right, so I'm just going to trim it. There. Here we go. Not you. I started to say I don't know where the kitties are, but that's not a wise thing to say. One of them will show up and start messing with me. Trim this one too. I just cut off a little sliver. Okay, see? This is a little lighter than I wanted, but you still get that dimension. Okay, now this one, because the house goes here, the main body of the church goes here, I'm not going to put one down low. I'm going to actually put it up higher. Yeah, mess level, that's kind of my thing. Well, it was during I don't know when, maybe the first Spooktacular. I realized, I'm like, I need to warn them what is happening here. Because you have to factor in the mess level based on what you're going to do. If you don't have a good place to paint and you don't have paints or a place to store paints, then, you know, that's just not the craft you're going to do. If you're having company coming over and, you know, it's not the time to paint. So that's why I tell you the mess level. Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm just arbitrarily going to put this up here. Okay. Now let's see. What else do we need to do? I hope they won't pop off. There they go already. Because I haven't let them. Let's see if there's something else I need to do. Oh, yeah. We can do something else while we're waiting for this to adhere better. I'm going to set this aside. We can make our buttresses, because I think they add a fun detail. Let me see. I put 6 in the pattern. So 2 tall ones, and I'll show you how I plan for them to go. I plan the tall ones to go at the right at the kind of the intersection of the main body with the tower, and then 2 short ones. And I actually changed the pattern after this, so I made it longer so there was more room to add it. But you don't have to do the buttresses if you don't want to. So we make them just like I make any kind of rectangular piece. And usually I didn't do a big distinction here. Usually the piece that goes inside is a little shorter. I don't know if you can tell that, but this one is a little shorter so it fits in behind pretty easily. Yeah, I have a layer of glue on my fingers. So Roseanne thinks that if you use paint, you're at a mess level of 10 automatically. Well, you know, I kind of have my house set up as a crafting house, like an entire house. So I pull out cardboard that I paint on. I'll get my trusty assistant to show you in a minute. And I have a cookie sheet covered with parchment paper, and that's what I put in the oven when I dry my paints. And I have tins of paints. You know, it's pretty easy. Oh, somebody's asking about, Pat is asking about gargoyles. I have been wanting goyles forever. Now, I did see one. Craft with Sarah has a gargoyle pattern, and it's pretty big. So I don't know how. Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to show you. So this is a kitty box that I opened up, and this is what I paint on. Kind of, you know, sort of a Pollock effect. Is it Jackson Pollock? The painter who would like throw paint everywhere. But that's what I paint on. So, oh, and then when I'm done, I actually can put it in the oven. And the oven's turned off. I only turn it on for like 3 minutes. I have to time it because, you know, I'm messy. I would forget. I time it, and then turn it off after like 3 minutes. So it's just warm. It's not cooking. And if you're worried that you might forget, painter's tape, put a little piece of painter's tape on the handle of your oven so you'll warn anybody something's not right here. Do not cook. Do not cook my stuff. Okay, so anyway, I'm only going to make 2 of those, and they've got a little top, a buttress top that I'll glue on. This will be so much easier to glue on when it's adhered to the house. All right, so we got that. Okay, here's the other thing. Normally I try to have this done ahead of time. These are the shingles. And I painted them the same color. So normally on my shingles, I do a bit of an overhang, but not on this one because it fits tight up against the tower. So just cut it, and you have to cut it to size. I did not do that. I should have. Okay, so just going to trim it. I'll just do 1/2 in the interest of expediency, so I don't, I always worry about boring y'all. Actually, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to show you. Okay, so cut it again. Oh, I know. We need to do it the easy way. Don't cut to size. I haven't done shingles in a little while. We've been doing different crafts. But the way to do shingles is to glue them down and trim later. So, put down a piece. Oh no, yeah, see, I keep doing it. I keep messing up. It's much easier to do it this way. Just put down a line and then trim later. And I think I will change the pattern a little bit so that you don't have to, I can do them to the correct size. It's not that hard to do it. I was kind of in a hurry. I've really been piddling around with this, kind of fiddling around with this pattern for a while. Okay. Oh, well, thank you, Barbara. I'm glad you enjoy watching. It really means a lot to me. You guys are so supportive, and, I was like, I try to give back. I've got something really cute. My friends Jen Swift and Amy Romeo always have the Cricut Adventure, and I don't know if they've announced it, but it's going to be a European theme. And I actually signed up late. What I wanted to do, there were too many people for London, so I couldn't do London. So I'm doing Switzerland, which I think is going to be good. And you can see the ideas are really fun. Uh-oh, I turned off my light. Wait, it came unplugged. Just a second. It's not on. Okay, well, we'll just do it. It actually looks pretty good. Maybe better without the light on. It's probably burned out. You're not supposed to use this as your regular light, but I use it all the time, so it'd be blue if it was working. See, look at this. I just love this texture. Actually, texture shows up better without the light on. Yes, I like their holiday adventure too. The Cricut Adventure with Jen and Amy. They're very funny. They're almost like a comedy team where, Jen is the comedian and Amy's like, the straight man. She like reins her in. Yeah, so they're going with the European theme again, so I hope it'll be good. Yeah, I had all these ideas. I'm like, nope, nope, you can't do that. No, Lucy, you have to do, you have to pick one of the available spots. Oh, okay. I can be adaptable. I can figure stuff out. Okay, I'm sorry, just doing a few more rows. And then you'll see we just trim the edges, and you don't have to, trim row by row. And I really like it much better. And also I can I can stagger them better, easier, without having to, oh, is this a staggered piece? Is this a staggered piece? No, just shift it a little bit and then you cut it. Instead of having to cut out two different kinds of shingles, one with a straight edge and one with a half one. And I mean, I just think this is easier. And I'll show you, you can do the same thing on the steeple. And be a little more generous with the glue so it won't pop up. I met those two crafters, Jen Swift and Amy. I've actually never met them in person, but we kind of collaborated online a few times. And then we did sort of a group where we taught each other stuff. And I'll be honest, I'm a slow learner. In terms of making this a business, I'm actually not as good at it, but I do have fun. And I've been able to do it consistently for 8 years, so I think that's worth it. There are a lot of people who burn out long before that. Almost done, almost done. Let me see, I hope this is the last one. I'm going to flip it over, yep, last one. I did a little crooked. We're pretending over time it's settled. There we go. I just love this. Okay, so then it really helps to let it dry before you cut because it'll shift. The force of the scissors will shift it, so we'll let that dry. But I'll show you. This is actually from a different house, and this is what you can do with the steeple. There's a little template in the pattern, and you do the shingles exactly the same way. Don't really worry about alternating them too much or staggering them, and then you just cut it. Then you don't have to be precise, and then you just glue that on the steeple. I think that's the way to do shingles on a steeple. Okay, and let me see. So here's the shingle pattern. And oh, but if you don't want to use shingles, I'm not sure how well they'll fit, partly because I made this kind of a tight fit, but doesn't it look good? I think the steeple really makes it, even though the example I saw did not have a steeple, but I think it really looks good. So, okay, so next, what were we doing? We did these. Oh, I know. We're going to put the tower together, and again, it's the same structure, the way I do all my structures, with a side tab, well, almost always, with a side tab, and apply glue. We're almost ready to put it together. Yeah, I like the steeple a lot. I had to figure out how to make it fit inside, and so I had the pattern and I just reduced it just a tiny bit. And I was like, ooh, that works good. That doesn't always happen. Make sure your corners can fold into a 90, and hopefully my trim will not pop off. There we go. Always line up the bottom. This back corner is not going to be seen because it's going to go against the structure of the building. So I'm going to temporarily hold it with painter's tape. And let's do it up here to make sure. Okay, there, yeah. All right, so to support the steeple, we're going to do an insert. Let me find my insert. So there are two inserts for the tower. There is one that goes in the bottom. So if you want to apply some string lights or something, you can do that. But to put the top one in place, it helps to do that one first because it's solid, and you can and if you like put it in too deep and you push it down too far, you can use, that's what I'm using this paintbrush for, like a dowel to get it in line. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me show you what the trick is to this. Remember, we have to glue this together, so the thickest part, the hardest part to get it in, is right where this seam is. So put that in first. So line up that side first, and then do it over. Go against that side. Pull your flaps in. Tuck it down. And so it's crooked. So now we use our little dowel to line it up. And sometimes you have to go back and forth a few times. But this gives you a nice surface, but even if you're not using the steeple, it gives you a nice surface. Okay, so now we're going to do the glue, so it'll probably be messier. Well, thank you, Bird. Is it Berta or Bert? I think it's from Roberta. I feel like I'm knowing you guys, like really getting to know you guys, which I like. And I try to remember, every once in a while I remember to say hey to Bobby and Dorothy. They don't sign up in the chat, but they watch. They're like buddies of mine, and they email me. And I know there are a lot of people who don't use Facebook. I understand that. Okay, I'm going to ooch it down a little more. Just ooch it down. I'm trying to line up with this line. Okay, I think that's good. And there's our tower. Okay, so I'm not going to do shingles on this one. And if you do shingles, I wouldn't have them overextend. In fact, I'd probably stop applying the shingles. I'd start the shingles higher than normal so you can fit it in. Okay. There we go. I'm not going to glue it, but anyway. See, this is where the real personality of the Norman church is with the tower. Oh, I forgot my door. Where's my door? Oh, I did the door. Okay, let me figure out what's next. I think we're going to add the body. Let me take these off. Here's the body. Just Bert. Okay. Oh, that's funny. Bert and Ernie. That sounds like a nice couple, Bert and Ernie. Oh, are you asking how much my trusty assistant gets paid? He does a lot of work. No, he doesn't really get paid, but, you know, like we always go out to eat afterwards. That's kind of, ooh, see, that one was too low, so I'm actually going to pull this off. Try not to tear the paper. I thought I could put it there, but it didn't. I'm going to have to patch my, there. I'll paint over it. Okay, so I'm applying glue. Actually, wait, let me see. Do I have a pencil? Yes, I do have a pencil. I brought my trusty miscellaneous box, and I think it has a pencil in it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just kind of lightly mark the top. Sort of mark where so I'll glue below this area. Apply glue. A lot of times at this point I use a stronger glue, like Aileen's, one of the tacky glues, quick dry, turbo tacky, something like that. They adhere structures a little better. I mean, even though this is watercolor paper, it's a structural thing, and it's not easy to push them together, you know, to get them to stick. Okay, so I'm trying to center it, and I'm doing that by lining up the doors. And I'm not being like crazy precise, but, and that's one reason I think it helps not to put the insert in the bottom yet. Okay, let's see. Need to move over a little bit so that it's straight. Add a little tape there. All right, oops. Remember I didn't, oh, that's why it wouldn't go down. I had it over one of the little crenellations. Okay, we're getting there, And next, I'm going to cut my roof, my halfway done roof. So I'm just trimming off the excess shingles, and you can use these for the steeple if you want to do them. They're a little bit too short for the this roof. I think this roof is it's 4 inches. Just under 4 inches. So what I'm planning to do, not that I always remember, is make it so that these strips are at least 8 inches long, so you have more. You know, I'm going to make them like 9 inches long. Okay, look. See, it's looking old, isn't it? I don't know. I'm debating, do I glue this down before I add the other shingles? I think I can do it. I can do it. Okay, I want a lot of glue, like at the seam. Yeah, Bert's saying the United Kingdom, Great Britain has great buildings. Yeah, I can't wait to go there. That's next year. Next year is the Great Britain. Because, you know, I'm still mobile. I can get around. I want to go places while I can still walk and get around easy. So really, once we get the roof on, we'll put the inserts in, and then we'll do a buttress or two. That's good. I'm very happy with this. I don't know if Ben's going next time. We always have a problem with pets. We have so many pets. Basically, cats show up at our door. Homeless kitty hotline. And so it's like, oh, really? Another one with a broken leg. You know, that's what happens. I'm like, really? You guys? Why y'all doing this to me? Yeah, we both, like, one neighbor across the street died, and everybody who was around him was allergic to cats. So I'm like, okay. Ben got that one. He's really nice. That's Tom. And somebody shot Alley Cat. She had a broken leg from, it was a pellet. Wasn't like, you know, they weren't, I think they were trying to break up a fight. So Alley Cat had a broken leg. Okay, next inserts. Let's do the main body insert. I really want to do a trip. You know, when I went to Europe this past, last year, yeah, I've got lots of photos. And I did some of the houses from them. I think Gina was asking. I did, oh, what was it? Rose Manor was inspired by it. I did some Dutch houses, I think. And then timber frame. We did the Rat House, the City Hall from Marburg. Oh, shoot. Now this is what somebody taught me too. Is rather than apply glue to all of them, each side, just apply it to one and kind of get it in place and then glue the other side. So you're not like, you know, doing this. You're not putting your hands all in the glue to get the little tabs to go in. But as I've already put my hands in the glue, we'll just finish this way. Need my paper towel. There we go. And see, one thing, you know, the paper bends. So the nice thing is when you've got the insert, and like I said, y'all taught me to do this, it holds this edge, keeps it from bowing out. And it's not exactly even, but it's enough to keep it square. You know, even though like one side's in a little bit, it still keeps it with 90-degree angles. I really didn't put much glue. Okay, so we got that. I might as well glue this in. I don't know why I'm being lazy and not. Oh dear, I've been here for an hour. I'm sorry, y'all. I really like this pattern. And like I said, there's a written tutorial, but I didn't have photos. I will take photos from this video and insert it so it makes more sense. There we go. And insert for the base, which I've managed to lose. It's the circular insert. You know, I haven't gone anywhere. Okay. Well, it migrated itself somewhere. Okay, now, let's see. Now, I wondered about this. The buttress is going to overlap this trim, and I decided this trim is thin enough. I'm not worrying about it. So I'm applying glue to the back of the buttress. Oh, I see. Hey, Delvine, I hadn't seen you. She said she will stay till the end. That's very kind. Also, St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and I think, this definitely has a very European vibe to it. Okay, there's one buttress. And let's get the buttress roof or whatever. I don't know what the top of a buttress is called. I don't think I've ever had one longer than this. Okay, this is one of those things where you got to let it dry. So while I'm trying to adhere the roof on, it's moving around. Oh, plus, you actually need to, oops, I threw that on myself. You actually need to apply glue to two sides. That will certainly help. And I don't think the church, the Norman church, needs the buttress, but it was part of the design, so I felt obligated to use it. Okay, that's going to stick better. And I'm just going to kind of pop this up there for now. Remove the kitty hair. I think this needs to be longer. The little buttress roof needs to be longer. There we go. And let's see. Do a little one. See what the little one looks like. I'm not too sure about the buttresses. I don't know. I think this one's going to look good. Okay, almost done. Almost done. Yeah, I didn't expect the chat to be such an important part of the lives. And I don't know, like if somebody's watching the replay, if it's off-putting to be responding to comments in the chat, because some people don't have the chat turned on when they watch my videos. But I feel committed to doing this. And I think it's in this day of artificial intelligence and AI stuff, and I'm like, well, this is real. We are real. And it's, you see me bumble around and make mistakes, and we have fun. Yeah, I think I do like this one. I think I like the little one better. Okay, two things. Sometimes I have the pattern like perfected or really good before I make it for you. But this time I did not. So I'm going to change two things. I'm going to make the shingles easier. I'm going to make them wider so when you cut them out, you can get two out of one strip. So I'm going to make that better. And I'm going to lengthen the buttress roof. Okay, what do you think? Okay, now I'm going to switch cameras. Rotate this one with no light out of the way. Okay, look. I like it. I think, like I said, if these buttress roofs were longer, I would really like that better. A little more distressing. I'm probably going to get my inkers and kind of ink the edges to make them old. You could actually do it like a little green, like some moss or something has been growing on them. I think in sort of a hobby shop, sometimes they have like grass, green stuff, so you could sprinkle it on, really like moss was truly growing. So anyway, and I think it needs a base because you've got to landscape it. You've got to have it in some kind of old setting. So, okay. Well, thank you for staying with me for so long. I don't know what we're going to do next week. If you have ideas, be sure to email me. Send an email out today so you can respond and tell me, oh, I would really like if you would do blah, blah. Somebody asked for a dancing leprechaun. We have a dancing leprechaun pattern. I don't remember the number of it. But so if you want to do that, it's a fun craft. And I think it's a fun craft for kids too. Okay, so I'm going to go. I'm kind of hungry. And I will update the tutorial and the pattern later this afternoon. It might be after I nap. Okay, alrighty. I love seeing you guys. Paula, Vanessa, Gina, everybody. It's always so nice to see you. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.